Hello there, gorgeous beings. How are you doing? Welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Rosanna Rosie Glow Hannes, and I am over the moon to announce with all of you, or to all of you, that the book has been launched, StarPeace 101, How to Co-Create Peace or How to Create Peace in One Generation. And this is in a timely manner in relation to the 1212 portal and also 2025 heralding the beginning of peace on earth. So stay tuned if you want to know more about what this is all about. And if you haven't got a clue who I am yet, I am a channel of divine grace. I channel also the StarPeace Collective, known as the Intergalactic Super Federation to many of you. And back in 2020, I received a message, a booming voice in my head that basically is the instigator of this book, that told me that in our universe, the light had won. And the war was over. It was time for StarPeace. So I'm sure you can imagine that when you get woken up with a message like that in the middle of a fear-demic, you're going, yeah, sure, not really what it looks like here. But this is where it all started. Believe before you receive. Believe it before you see it. And this whole book has basically been a 4-year gestation period from conception through to birth. And I'm so excited to announce that one, the Kindle has already gone live, and I'll put the links in the chat box below so you can find out where it is in your part of the world. And tonight, so by the time probably most of you see this, at the stroke of midnight, 11th of December becoming the 12th, the paperback version is also going to be available. And I don't know many people who do this, right? This was the original version that came through me. The uncensored version is what I'm going to call it. There are only 25 copies of this in operation. They were never sold. Okay, I just decided to print it, read it, see how I felt about it. And then I rewrote it with the help of a very dear friend called Kate Coulson. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And ultimately, what has happened here is this is the new version. It is really easy to read. There's some incredibly challenging concepts to get your head and heart and teeth and body around. And this is the point, is how do we make the focus peace on earth rather than war on earth? How do we create the bridge from conflict to resolution, from being problem to solution focused? Well, here it is in a story form. Here it is in a light-hearted way, and we touch on everything. We touch on everything that's gone on in terms of AI and the potential threats of climate change and the importance of sacred union, both in terms of actually our connection to source, all that is, and living this earth from our highest self-consciousness rather than our ego programming, and also the foundations of actually what it means to create a generation that is wired to thrive rather than survive. My background is in pre-birth influences. It is particularly in the field of yoga. I used to train midwives, doctors, all sorts of medical professionals who are working with maternity care in particular. I'm also trained doula myself and a mother. I spent many years working in supporting couples get pregnant, also clear blocks to fertility, and also to have happy and healthy pregnancies, conscious births, and the immediate postpartum period is something I've gone on about for a very long time in terms of how important it is for us to do repair work. So however the birth actually went, we don't then carry on a legacy of trauma and birth trauma that passes to the next generation. Now, this is about the 1212 portal as much as it is about predictions in 2025 and how this book actually plays a part. So bear with me as I explain to you that the 1212 portal to me is really the opening or the invitation of stepping more and more into Christ consciousness ourselves. And by Christ, I mean crystalline consciousness. I mean our highest self-consciousness. And if you think about 12 and 12 reducing down to 33, because 1 + 2 is 3, 1 + 2 is 3. This is a master number. I live at number 33. It is also the foundation of actually being able to create through sacred geometry. And one of the chapters in the book is actually talking about the shift from the hexagonal timeline to the octagonal timeline. So some of you will already have seen information about this out in the collective around how the flower of life then becomes the daisy of death. And then there's the lotus of life and how that is the true path. For those of us who are seeking to reunite with source, all that is, and 0 point, it's all in the book, my friends, as is the 3-pronged formula for peace and what it would actually take for us to create peace on earth in one generation. Now, if you haven't yet seen my interview with the absolutely phenomenal Dr. Bruce Lipton, it is pinned at the top of my YouTube channel. Please watch it, because that was like part of the rewrite of this book was actually as a result of the information that he shared with me and how what he understood about everything backed up what I had received intuitively in all the years that I've been doing this work. So my background really started from about a 4-year-old like walking around going, this place makes no sense. What am I doing here? My parents don't have a clue how to deal with me. I don't feel safe with these adults, in the sense that I just didn't feel like anyone around me knew what they were doing. Did you have this experience? If you did, you are likely a starseed that doesn't know you're a starseed, or you're waking up to being a starseed. You might identify more as an empath, a light worker, a way shower, a highly sensitive person. Trust me, those of us here who find this world too painful are here to help bring in the frequency codes of peace. That's what it means to be a starseed. It means we've already evolved beyond the conflict, the density, the duality that exists as commonplace on this particular planet and anywhere else that we've gone on a volunteer mission to help support ascension. And we're here in this life to remember our mastery and to teach it to others through our own embodiment, through leading by example. So I dared to go there. We talked about transgender issues. We talked about neurodivergence. We talked about actually conscious celebrities. And I just wanted to mention a few to you, because there's a whole chapter on what would happen if StarPeace was a movie. And then there's 2 ideas for movie starters, because I want to get this out there in the collective. Edutainment is a huge part of this, as is what it would take to create a tipping point that would allow a tsunami of change, which really is about Malcolm Gladwell's book, The Tipping Point, and what he put in that book, and then the research that was done after that. So everything I talk about here is evidence-based. The formula for peace is science-backed in the sense that it includes social science. It also includes epigenetics. It includes quantum physics. It includes the research that was actually done with the tipping point, and everything that I've learned in terms of pre and neonatal research that has yet to truly influence public health policy around maternity services. These beautiful babies are the star maps. I just wanted you to have a look at that and see. This is one of the star maps, and I'll show you another one too. I think that's the last one, actually. Now, these star maps are going to be very soon available as, what are we calling them? Here's another one. This is the 6 co-creation steps. I made a video about that. There's 9 star maps that the StarPeace Collective downloaded to me to help us explain how to shift from the problem to the solution, how to embody through the natural earth cycles on this planet and the human cycles our highest self frequency, and to roll with the changes, to trust that we can work with all of the energies to actually be able to align fully with the divine in us. And these cards, these maps will be made into oracle cards and will be available very, very soon. And the Audible version will also be available very soon. So if you actually want access to the Kindle version, you can get it now, anywhere you like. And very, very soon, as I said, you're also going to be able to get hold of the paper copy, the paperback. Now, if StarPeace was a movie, we talk here about conscious celebrities and conscious fame, and how this is an element of this 3-pronged formula for peace, and actually what it would take. And I just wanted to mention people like John Lennon and Yoko Ono. Guess what? You cannot make this up. I had no idea Kindle was going to be published yesterday. The launch date that came through for me was the 12th of the 12th. Now, I got told today that back in 1969, on the 12th of the 12th, no less, 55 years ago, 55 being a significant number of change, Yoko Ono and John Lennon released the song Give Peace a Chance. And here we are 55 years later, putting StarPeace out into the world. Not only that, Yoko Ono, you are the originator of StarPeace as the word that was the album that you put together in 1984, 1985, I believe it was, in result. It was a response to Ronald Reagan's Star Wars style mission. So here, yeah, StarPeace is here as an evolution of Star Wars. What if we actually moved beyond duality into oneness? What if we didn't fear peace actually being boring? What if we allowed ourselves to understand that peace is not something that's static? It's a dynamic state, and the foundation of it is leaning into conflict with the intention of resolution rather than avoiding conflict and therefore projecting and suppressing and doing all the things that humanity has done for so long. We have a manifesto for peace. There's a whole manifesto, the StarPeace Manifesto, of a vision of reality that we could all choose to adapt, embody, work with. The key is imagination. It's inspiration and imagination. Again, John Lennon, imagine, imagine. He wrote a song about it. Imagine. That is our power, my friends. And you know what makes me sad? It's that I will see people, good people, heart-centered people, argue for the limitations of humanity and this planet and why things have to be the way they are, rather than put their energy into the solution. So I'm calling on everyone to step forward now, whoever you are, whether you're Donald Trump, whether you are Elon Musk, whether you are Reese Witherspoon, Keanu Reeves, Richard Curtis, Emma Freud, Matthew McConaughey, Camilla Alves McConaughey, John Lennon in the sky, Yoko Ono, the Wachowski sisters, Seth MacFarlane, Madonna, Russell Brand, Stephen Bartlett, whether you love or you don't love these beautiful souls, just remember they're all playing their part. Everyone is playing their part. And I'm mentioning their names because I want to bring their energy in. And one of the key things that came through this book is actually the role of sacred union. Now, I am blessed to be with my beloved sacred union ascension partner, who I also call my twin flame, the wonderful Ian Buzz Hannes. And this didn't just happen. You know, I came from very toxic love programming, and my kind of success as a coach, if you like, is founded on helping people shift from toxic love programming into sacred union love. And when I see relationships in the public eye where you can see that love, you can see that resonance of two people that are plugged into their own soul light coming together and actually amplifying that light because they're two wholes coming together to create an even greater whole. This is exactly what Bruce Lipton talks about in his book, The Honeymoon Effect. And the science is further explored behind the honeymoon effect in the biology of belief. Bruce, you know I'm a huge fan. But also there are so many other beautiful souls that are talking about amazing things. I had Greg Braden in here with a couple of his quotes. There are so many beautiful souls I have quoted. I mean, it's all here. But ultimately, I want to inspire you. If there's one thing you may well want to put on your Christmas list this year, it is this, because it not only tells you that it's possible, not only explains why it's possible, but it shows you how you can actually start to play your part in all of this. And you're probably doing stuff already, but what it's going to do is help you see where there are other areas that you can actually bring your soul light to impact the change that you want, and to have the kind of impact that will allow you to really, really see the shifts in this lifetime, because we can do it. And Bruce says in the interview with me that we've really got one generation to sort everything out. We're using 1.6 planets worth of resources, and we've got one planet. And yeah, we might think the solution is to go off planet, but if we don't sort out our own backyard, what right do we have to go somewhere else and pollute somewhere else with our inconsideration and short-sightedness? It's time. It's time to wake up. So let's come a little bit more as to why I'm predicting that in 2025, we are really heralding the beginning of peace on earth. Who says herald these days? Well, I have discovered that the StarPeace Collective like to use some oldie worldy English like whilst and herald. And it kind of makes me laugh because obviously, you know, this isn't like the slang of now. But what I will say is that we are in an apocalyptic time. You know, you've got Russell Brand talking a lot on his YouTube channel and on Rumble as well about great revelations, things that a couple of years ago people were denying flat and saying there's no way. And, you know, when you're thinking like this, you're thinking like a tin hat person and you're wrong. And actually, well, not quite the case, is it? And I'm going to be careful what I say. You've got Stephen Bartlett doing a great job of speaking to people who are doing their bit to change the world. And what I'm curious about, and what I really want to have conversations with conscious celebrities and high profile influencers about here on this channel, is really how your earliest life influences have impacted who you are today, what you put out in the world. And what I'm really passionate about is us all recognizing that as artists, as creatives, whether you're a musician, you're an actor, you're a screenwriter, you're an author, whatever it is you do, right? What you're creating is the culmination of your frequency, vibration, and resonance, right? What you put out in the world, right, is either coming from your ego programming or your highest self, or a mixture of both. And my passion is to work with those who are already at the top of their game to take them even more into that unified frequency of bringing more of that shadow to light. And where there is the stuff that I know most people don't tackle, which is pre-birth, it can be fertility, it can be birth, it can be first year of life, first 7 years of life, this stuff that easily becomes our kind of propeller for change, for being big in this world, for having a voice. If we actually bring it into a unified resolution, the impact we have is off the scale. And it is time to rewrite the script now. It is time for us to recognize that everything that we are consuming with our senses is either raising our frequency or lowering it, or keeping it in the same state that it's in. We can't afford to keep it where it is or lower it. It's time for it to go up to the highest frequency possible. And that's what StarPeace is all about. So 2025 is a year that vibrates the frequency of 9. We've just come through the year that vibrates to 8. And I always talked, well, for a long time on my channel, you'll have heard me talk about Lionsgate last year, or this year, 2024, and how it was a Lionsgate on steroids because it was an 888, a cosmic steroids. And I said those who wanted it were in line for 1,000-fold expansion, not a 10x, not 100x, 1,000x. And oh my gosh, have I been on that journey myself. All right. So for those of you who have felt as though like every step you take in the direction of your highest self-guidance has meant that something else has fallen apart in your life, something else has crumbled, that's because you are choosing the choiceless path. And I talk about that in the book as well. It's when you collapse the other timelines, the other possibilities, and you walk the path that your soul chose for you before you even incarnated. The path that is the most graceful, easy, and joyful way of you sharing your gifts with this world and having the most impact. But guess what? That means you have to put your soul in control and surrender control to your soul. And I can say these words, but actually what they mean, what they mean, well, that is something that we live out. And I've been learning very quickly and very intensely where my old self tries to tackle, to deal with, to somehow, it's not even force, but make things a certain way. The surrender is the surrender. All those manifesting things you learned along the way, you let those go. It's literally ask, believe, desire, receive, or ask, desire, believe, receive. That's it. Ask, desire, believe, receive, but also own fully what you want and let go of attachment and to timing and to outcome. This is key. So this is all part of what I'm teaching and what I'm offering now. And, you know, if you're interested in working with me in 2025, I suggest you go to rosieglow.com and you book yourself a desire mapping call. This is all in the back of the book, or a sacred union activation call. I've been called now to work one-to-one. So although I'll be slightly involved with, well, I will be partially involved with the group projects that I have, and I've been training other amazing coaches to run them. I'll still be facilitating in part. It's the one-to-one at the highest level that I'm really working with. So if you want to journey with me, you can also check out rosannahannes.com, and I'll put the link in the chat box for that. And I suggest you fill out the contact form and let's have a conversation about what's possible, because we ain't got no time to waste. And 1212 as a portal is a gateway into the whole new. As I said, 2025 is a year of 9. We had 2024 as a year of 8. 9 is a year of completion. So there are more revelations coming to light, more and more truth being revealed, more and more people you will see that you thought were, you know, guides you could trust were actually wolves in sheep's clothing. And, you know, it will seem as though the tables are really turned upside down. We don't know what is light, what is dark, and that's okay. The reason for that is because we want to collapse good, bad, right, wrong into oneness, into there is light and shadow to everything. Everything helps, everything hinders. Everyone is playing their part, okay? Because things have had to go to extremes for us to find the midline. So we've gone from one liberation extreme, you know, ultra, what do they call it? Liberalism, through to now ultra conservatism, and we will find the middle path. Okay, the middle path is one that we access as we align with grace, ease, joy, and peace. And we actually allow ourselves to turn ego will into divine will, my will to thy will. And that's what the divine matrix is about. That's what the sovereignty grid is about. That is exactly what I teach. So a little more on the 1212, because I think that's really important. I feel that it's important to remember that anywhere you're judging, good to bad, will be coming to light. And this 1212 portal that really opens tomorrow is, well, it's kind of open now, but it will be open until the solstice, is about where you're in duality and how you collapse that duality into oneness, where you are staying divided internally, where you're allowing judgment to keep you separated between your human and your soul self. And the challenge is for us to collapse that. It's almost like saying we needed religion, but we don't need it the way we needed it then. We needed science, but we don't need it now the way we needed it then. Everything shifts. Everything has needed to be as it was before, but now we get to evolve and transmute and say, what is better than this? What could be better than this? So anywhere you feel like in life we've taken a step back, remember that's a step back to step forward. It's the regression precedes progression. The reinforcing stitch is 2 steps forward, 1 step back. So you're making clear that you've learned the lessons. And also think about the slingshot when you pull back to then get that momentum to get that slingshot working. This is what it's all about, beautiful ones. So I'm very excited about all of this, and I'm just going to say again that if you're remotely curious about this book, I highly recommend getting yourself a copy. And if you're not sure what to get anyone else for Christmas, perfect thing. You may have heard of the 3 to 4D bridge. That's consciousness that's awakening from being totally, if you like, conditioned to starting to question your conditioning. And a lot of thinking goes into this, but thinking keeps you separated from your heart and from your soul consciousness. So the next level up is the 4 to 5D bridge, which is where we evolve from thinking into feeling. We make the transition from the brain, which connects to the hive mind, into creating safety in the body so that we can really feel the truth of our heart. And that's when we can connect to the divine mind, the divine matrix, and the crystalline grid. And that's where the 33 and the 12 comes in again, because Christ, crystalline, 12-strand DNA, the master teacher codes that are in the crystals that are in the earth and actually in many of our houses now, which we seeded our master teacher wisdom into in the previous incarnations we've had. So whether it's through our bloodlines or soul memories, think of Lemuria, think of Atlantis, think of the times before each fall, then there was always coding that we placed so that we could actually remind ourselves when it was time how to live the paradise earth codes. And here's the thing. Paradise Earth codes are coming from the Earth up. StarPeace codes are coming from the cosmos down. And we are the conduits. Every one of us has to activate Soul Chakra and Earth Chakra in order to be able to synthesize, transmute, and evolve in our own frequency to carry these frequencies, to activate them in our lives, in our energy field, to activate our divine architecture, and to live this embodiment of leading by example rather than self-sacrificing. So again, if you're like, what is she talking about? I talk about the 3 to 4D bridge in the book. I also talk about the 4 different roles that we have to play. Every one of us is playing one of these roles in our own unique way. I talk about the game of life and how it's changed from what it was to what it is now. And it's just all there is a beautiful, simplified concept that allows you to kind of understand why you chose to be here at this time and what your specific role is and why you're not here to suffer. So all of us are here to transmute suffering. And we do that through learning how, well, one, what suffering we're still living with, which we might not even be aware of, where we're tolerating things that it's time to stop tolerating. And also how we can actually be our own best friend and support ourselves to move through. This means having blind spots revealed to us. It's why we need each other. The new world is not being created through individuals. It is being created through collaborations, through all of us who are connecting to our own light, pulling together. And some of the things I've talked about, including the divine architecture and including the earth and soul chakra activation, just want to be clear, I have 24 years experience now as a trained yoga teacher who's also a teacher trainer. I have senior yoga teacher status in the UK, which is the highest level you can have in terms of Yoga Alliance UK over Yoga Alliance US, I believe. And also the point of this is I spent many, many years working specifically with yoga for women, yoga for babies, for pregnancy, for fertility. And this is where Bruce Lipton's work underpinned everything. So I only offer classes online now. I offer 2 live classes a week. I offer them from my office space here, and you can join them anywhere in the world. This is where I teach simple yoga practices. It's not about chanting for me. It's not about any of the things that I know are very popular, and that's great. We have to remember that the yoga that's made it to the West has primarily been created for men, not women, and yet most women, you'll mostly find women in a yoga class, more women than men, right? So us learning to get over the disciplineship of it has to be this way or that way, and actually learn to undo the programming in our bodies so we can find our divine design alignment, access zero balance so that we can open to the 0 point field and live that alignment, mind, body, spirit, heart. It's really, really key. Okay, so this is where I teach all of this. You can go to rosieglow.com/yoga to find out how you can access a trial class and also join me for the monthly membership. But the point I'm making is if you haven't got your light body activated and your earth and soul chakra activated, it's time to do that if you are seeing yourself as someone who's here to bring peace to this planet, because it's your frequency that is the key. Nothing outside is anywhere near as important as what goes on inside. So we're learning to set our frequency first, to come into the heart, to lead from the heart, but from a soul-inspired perspective. And that way to collapse the shadow into the light by bringing light to it. on that note, I feel like I've covered everything I wanted to say. So I would love your comments. You know, we're very near the solstice now, which will be the shortest day in the northern hemisphere and the longest day in the southern hemisphere. This is a time for release and also for planting new seeds. So although 2025 is a year of completion, it is also preceding new beginnings, because the year after that will vibrate to 10, which will be 1. And we will really see the impact of the last 6 years in particular. Remember, we're coming out of this Pluto phase in Capricorn as well, which has been the last 16 years. It's been a wild ride. When you actually think back on it, it's been wild. So thank you for hearing me. Thank you for participating. Thank you for your energy in all of this. And I look forward to your comments. I look forward to your feedback. Please join everything. Join the mailing list, rosieglow.com, starpeaceconsciousness.com. Sign the manifesto on Starpeace Consciousness. There's loads of information on what you can do in the back of the book. So just buy the book and everything else will come from there. Thank you so much. So much love to you all. Have a wonderful, wonderful festive time. And I'll now start to publish some of the interviews that I held back. That will just, again, give you more perspective on what it is I'm actually teaching. But I can't wait to see more high profilers and celebrities here talking about their pre-birth influences and also the impact they desire to have in this world through their power, through their influence, through their fame, because it is time now for all of us to be more conscious about what we're doing in this world. And yeah, I'm here to definitely lead the way in that, in my own journey as well as a trailblazer. So loads of love to everyone. Thank you so much. Take care for now. And thanks for subscribing. Oh, I forgot to say, actually, if you want to join me for the full moon world service, it's a manifesting circle, and it's actually also a personal healing. We're calling it this year Give Peace a Chance. It's a full moon in Gemini. It's Friday the 15th, 8:08 p.m. GMT, which is universal time. You can find that through rosieglow.com/events. I'll put that in the text box. And what's coming with that is that we are going to be working with the energy of duality into oneness. And it is a full moon in Gemini, and it is the day that Mercury goes direct finally. Within the hour of us being online, it's then going to go direct. So time for whizzy woo. So make as much time for rest in between.